How's it going, everybody? Welcome to AIPT's recap of the South by Southwest Film Festival. My name is Nathaniel Muir, and I'm joined by Juli Cabot and Regina Chavez Muir.
Hello.
I never know whether to add the last part or not.
Me neither.
For those of you who haven't been following us on AIPT, definitely check it out. There are so many articles on there, reviews, interviews, and just post-fest coverage. So definitely check it out. And this is our recap of the event. So before we get into the movies, how was your guys' experience of South by Southwest?
I'll say it was awesome. There were so many movies I wanted to see, and because it was online, I think I was able to see more of them than I would have seen in real life. Like, I was just able to watch them on demand, like one after the other.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the online experience. I think it makes it easier to watch more movies. And it's also from the comfort of your own home too. But I think had it been in person, I don't think I would have been able to cover as many as I did.
Yeah, I was actually, Julie, you were the one who pointed it out about the ticketing system. I didn't realize they were doing that at first, so that was a little confusing to me. But then I was like, oh, they're trying to give that real festival vibe to it, like seats getting sold out and you have to be there at a certain time and stuff like that. So it was cool. I also liked how stuff you purchased on the app, you can see on the TV app if you downloaded it. Sundance, I'm not comparing the two festivals, but you weren't able to do that at Sundance. So I thought it was really cool that South by Southwest did that. So let's get into the movies here. Features. What were your favorite features?
Mine might have been the same as yours, Nathaniel. Mine was The Feast. It was like my hands down favorite, but there were a few others I really liked.
I thought The Feast was awesome. I absolutely love The Feast. And the further I get away from it, the more that I liked it. I thought I think I've never seen a movie where the language was so important to it. I thought it was great. Like as I was watching it, I thought they were speaking. Well, I knew they were speaking Welsh because I had read what the movie was, but it sounded like gibberish to me. Like I thought Welsh was like a dead language, like Latin. So I thought it's probably going to end up being one of the scariest horror movies that I've seen this year, and one of the best movies in general.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I really like The Feast too. It was very I don't know, we had just finished watching that Woodlands Dark Days Bewitched folk horror documentary, and it seems to just be the perfect movie to follow that up. It was very much with the folk horror and the lore of the setting, the language. It was all just very suspenseful and creepy, and I loved it.
And along with The Feast, what else did you two like?
So one of my other favorites was Executive Order. It's a Brazilian sci-fi dystopian film. Not so much sci-fi, but very dystopian, where sorry, my cat is like pawing at my headphones. Say hi. So Executive Order is about, in Brazil, the government decides that all people with any melanin, any people of African descent, have to go back to Africa. So there's some realism to it, but it was also just a really cool movie, and I recommend that one when it's available again.
I wanted to see that one because the storyline it's topical, but it seemed like a lot of fun also.
Yeah.
All of us saw this movie, and I guess Julie, you wrote it down, Violet.
Yeah.
Violet was a really good movie. That one, the whole time we were watching it, like I had this weird anxiety. Like I had this feeling in the pit of my stomach, like what's going on? Well, I knew what was going on, but it was like, what's going to happen next? And I was really, really drawn into Violet, her character. I was really, really engaged with her story.
Yeah, I watched a few horror movies, but Violet was not a horror movie, but it kept me on edge. Like I felt like that was the scariest movie I'd seen. I mean, it was starkly relatable, and I guess it's just sort of like the struggle kind of we all go through, right? So I don't know. It really freaked me out. It was good, good acting in it as well.
Yeah, I think what I liked most about Violet is like there's the things that are relatable for everyone in it, like just having that inner critic and just mental health and dealing with that, but also really like honed in on some of those microaggressions that women in the workplace face all the time. And that was just nice to see addressed like so directly.
That movie, I forgot what the other movie. I think it was Promising Young Woman, which wasn't at South by Southwest, but I can't relate to that part of the story as much. But as I watch movies like Violet, you can watch it as a male and think like, wow, it must be horrible to be a woman. So like, it must be so difficult, not horrible. I'm sorry, so difficult to be a woman. Like it really gets you. I think it's relatable to everybody. And then those aggressions, like, even though I can't relate to it, I can kind of understand where it's coming from. It kind of puts you in, well, it doesn't put you in those shoes, but it tries to teach you what's going on. And I really appreciated that about it. Along with feature films, there were documentaries there, and we all got to see some documentaries. What were some of your favorite documentaries?
I mentioned earlier the Woodland Dark and Days Bewitched. That one was about 3 hours, but it was just like, I love folk horror, so I found it so interesting. And like the nerd in me was just writing down like all the books. Like whenever they talk to an author of anything, having to study that, I was like, okay, I gotta read this book and check it out. I was just really into it. Really good use of the film footage that they used. It was you really looked at the blood on Satan's claws and Wicker Man a lot, and I thought those were really good examples to drive the point home. So I was really I think that was one of my favorites.
The only documentary that I actually watched was the Oxy Kingpins. Like there are so many documentaries that I wanted to see at South by Southwest, but the Oxy Kingpins, which focuses on like the role of the manufacturers and retailers in with opiates, and it was really well done. It was fast paced and really interesting. It's like it's about a real lawsuit that is in process right now that will be going to court in April. So it was just really cool to see. It was well done.
I wanted to see that one, especially after you recommended it, and I didn't get around to it. Mine's kind of a cheat, but I really enjoyed Sasquatch. It's a docu-series. I thought it was, I think it might have been the first thing I watched from South by Southwest, but I loved it. It was really cool. I'm not the biggest true crime fan, though. Every once in a while, I'll watch one. And, cryptids are really cool when you're younger. They get less cool as you get older. But just the premise of a guy who, 25 years ago, heard a story about, what was it, 3 guys getting murdered by a herd of Bigfoot. I mean, and then he went back to investigate it. It's awesome. From there, it just kind of takes off. But I really enjoyed it. I think it did a cool thing with true crime, too, because true crime is pretty cut and dry. Even the best ones, it's, it is what it is. Like they just present the case and either you're into it or you're not. But this one was actually really clever and creative about it. And it's coming to Hulu too. So for those who are interested in that kind of stuff, it's out there. There was also lots of short films at South by Southwest. I didn't get to see as many, but I know that both of you got to see quite a few. What were some of your favorite shorts?
So I watched all of the Midnight shorts, and I really liked almost all of them. I thought were excellent. And my favorite out of those, out of the Midnight shorts, would probably be Flick. It's like about a guy who gets a booger stuck to his nose, to his finger when he's picking his nose, and then he's trying to get it off, and he's just like running around his apartment trying to get it off. And it was like so stressful and gross and gory, but also like I was laughing the entire time. So that was a good one. And then I also really liked Marvin's Never Had Coffee Before. It was just like really wholesome and cute.
What about you, Regina?
I really liked Are You Still There? And it was really it's a mother-daughter story, but it was just what it did so well was it's about a girl whose car battery dies in a parking lot, and you can tell it's hot, she's stressed out, she needs help, she's young, she's calling her mom, and her mom's like, I'll be right there to help you. But her mom's a doctor, and her mom keeps getting called back into the hospital. So what I think it does, especially by setting it in a car, it does a really good job of creating that claustrophobia and then like adding to her stress of trying to get out of there. She's in a parking lot that she shouldn't be in the parking lot, and she has people like yelling at her. And but it's overall like a really good story about how it was a bad day, but it's a bad day and it's over. You have things that make you happy, and it was just like a really like heartwarming and uplifting story. It's a really good mother-daughter story.
I really liked even though I didn't get to see it at South by Southwest, so I'm going to cheat again. I really like Squeegee. I think that's a really cute, silly, funny, sexy short. It's really cool. Very, very funny. But one of the ones that I did see at South by Southwest is one of the ones you covered, Julie, A Tale Best Forgotten. I thought it was really. I like murder ballads to begin with. Like I like Nebraska by Bruce Springsteen, and I like that Nick Cave. I like Nick Cave stuff. Oh, I thought it was really really cool. And then the one shot thing was really neat. I like
Yeah.
really cool atmosphere. I just really really enjoyed that one. There were a lot of things. So between the three of us, not bragging, but we got to see a lot of things. So was there anything that really exceeded your expectation?
Luchadoras, the documentary about it's about three women in Juarez who are female wrestlers, and Juarez is for decades women have been disappearing and being murdered like on their way to work, especially the ones who work in the factories. And I mean, I've growing up there. I mean, I've heard the story so many times, and it was very interesting the take they took on it and focusing on these three women who were living a very unconventional life. You see the casual sexism that's part of the culture, the overt misogyny, and I just think it's really interesting that they chose these three women, very different backgrounds. Really, it's like Lady Candy and Baby Star and Mini Sirenita. So they were just such interesting subjects, and it really does show. I think like ultimately it is a hopeful story, and it's about trying to survive really in this city that's trying to kill you, like just for being a woman basically. So I was really like impressed with it, and I really loved what they did with it.
I think for me, Violation exceeded my expectations. Just hearing the description of it, I guess, as like a rape revenge film, my expectations weren't great, and it's coming to Shudder, so a lot of Shudder is kind of like cheesy horror, and I didn't really know where this was gonna go, but it's a great movie, and it's really just like well done. It's definitely atmospheric. It's creepy and suspenseful, but it's also like a really human story about revenge and the consequences of getting revenge. And I thought it was really, really well done.
I like Violation a lot. I can't stand rape revenge stories. I think they're like the absolute worst form of horror. Like they're way down there. I like what they've done in recent years with the genre. People are a little more aware, and I think Violation is really clever in a lot of the stuff that it does. I really enjoyed it. I saw The Fallout. It's directed. So I wasn't expecting very little out of it. It says it's a coming of age story about a high school tragedy. So I'm like, first thing you're wondering is like, okay, I wonder what the tragedy is. Coming of age is usually a death in the family type of thing. And then it's directed by Megan Park, who is on The Secret Life of the American Teenager. Stars Jenna Ortega, who's like a Disney kid, I think. So very low expectations. I was just like, well, I'll just watch this just to watch it. It turns out it's like a really amazing movie. It's deals with high school shootings, which unfortunately is a part of our everyday world now. Very emotional, but what I really liked about it was how authentic it was. Like they came across as real high school kids. Like it was real. It was very, very real. I think, and I won't spoil anything. I think that the ending is very heavy-handed, but I think in this case it needs to be heavy. Like it's like I watched it and I was like, wow, I can't believe they did that. But I thought that is perfect. It was really well done. It won a bunch of awards too, like the jury award for best narrative, the audience award, and Megan Park won for the best director there. Like definitely a really good movie and far exceeded my expectations. The flip side is sometimes movies don't live up to your expectations. And in this case, I think we're all thinking the same thing here. So broadcast signal intrusion.
I thought the acting was pretty good, and but I think that sometimes it wanted to be much more fast paced than it actually pulled off, and some parts do seem to kind of like lag a little bit. But I was also hoping it focused more on the actual like, I don't know, the mythos of the broadcast signal intrusion, and not so much on this guy's like hunt for it. So, but that's my expectations of it were just,
The after you and I saw it, the first time I said was, "There's a great movie in there somewhere." Like this wasn't it, but it's a really cool story. Like the broadcast signal entry, like the real one, it's a really cool story. The premise is really neat. The idea of someone trying to figure it out, that's a cool little mystery, and you can go so many different directions with it. The direction they chose was unfortunately not a very interesting one, I thought. But every once in a while, there'd be these cool nuggets of there'd be a new revelation, or even some of the third video that he watches. Like it's kind of creepy. Like there's some cool stuff going on in there, but yeah, the end result, it just didn't all come together for me.
Yeah, for me, it really like lacked a sense of world building, and maybe because it was supposed to be in 1999, it's like the real world sort of, but for a sci-fi movie, like that was really lacking. And I love Harry Shum Jr. and I think he like carried that movie. But like you guys were saying, the story of what's going on with the tapes and solving that mystery was really cool. And then you introduce this crime element into it, and it started to become like this noir movie with that older detective guy that he met who they forgot about.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a detective, but yeah. And that really changed the pacing too, and it felt like it was just trying to be too many things.
it really did feel sort of like an 80s, early 90s movie in that sense, where you have like these movies that are clearly about something else, and then out of nowhere, this crime element comes in and just like you have three men and a baby, and all of a sudden there's like drugs that you have to worry about. Like it's sort of like they don't match up. Like it's sort of like it really was jarring almost to have these stories together.
And you mentioned the noir element. There was also like that saxophone that would come out every once in a while. Like, you know what the most disappointing one was? Luchadoras. Actually, there was no Rey Mysterio. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Totally ruined it for me. So one of the things with Fest is unfortunately you don't get to see everything that you wanted that you want to see. So was there anything that you missed out on that you really were hoping to catch?
So I was not planning on watching The Fallout, and you guys both recommended it, and I was like, I should watch that, but instead I watched Executive Order, and because it was like the last day of the festival. But I've seen what everyone had to say about The Fallout, and that it won the audience and the jury awards, and I'm wishing I'd watched that one.
Well, it sounds like it might have worked out, though. I mean, Executive Order is one of your best, so at least you saw something good.
Yeah. Yes.
What about you, Regina?
I really wanted to see Gaia and Witch Hunt, and I just didn't have time for them at the end.
I really wanted to see Romeo Juliet, which they thankfully let us know that it's Romeo and Juliet, not Romeo pounds Juliet, despite the stylized. But I really want to see. Not that I'm the biggest William Shakespeare fan or Romeo and Juliet fan, but I don't know. I just like seeing adaptations, and it just seemed kind of corny in a good way. Like it's all done on social media, Instagram and stuff. It just seemed kind of fun, but didn't get around to it. So hopefully it'll be on, I don't know, USA Network or something. So final thoughts. What were your guys' final thoughts of South by Southwest?
I mean, there were so many movies that we didn't talk about that I loved. Like Gaia was one of the ones that I did get to watch, and it was really cool. It's an excellent movie. And just overall, like, I always love the shorts with film festivals, so I'm glad that I was able to watch as many of them. Like, you never know what to expect, and so many of them are like Squeegee. I didn't have any. You never know what to expect with shorts. You're going off like one sentence telling you what you're watching, and that one was just like, whoa. So it was really cool. And yeah, I think the app made everything really cool. One thing I wish I had done is I wish I'd been in any of the live Q&As with filmmakers that was on the app. You could chat with them. So I went back and read some after, but it would have been cool if I had planned my time a little better to do that.
I think that both of you within, gosh, I want to say like within 15 or 20 minutes of it, you both brought up to me, well, Julie, in your article, you mentioned inclusivity and Regina, you just like kind of outright mentioned to me, like, "Oh, I want to write this article about inclusivity at South by Southwest," and I thought it was really cool that you both noticed that, because it's kind of it's something that people drop all the time. They say that they're doing it, but you don't get it all the time. And it was noticeable at South by Southwest, but it wasn't like an in your face, here's what we're doing. So it was just a part of the festival. And I thought that was really cool. I really appreciated it. But I always tell people that I really think that genre movies, and I think like underrepresented, like people of color, I think that's where all the best stuff is. Like, just no one ever knows it because no one ever gave them a chance. So I'm really glad that these festivals, South by Southwest most recently, that they're giving a chance to people that normally wouldn't have had that chance. What about you, Regina? Second year in a row, South by Southwest. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, this time I think I was a little bit more prepared. The first time was my first festival, and it was just, I don't know, it was pretty daunting. Also, we had Julie to help us this time around, so it wasn't as terrifying with with the workload. But I don't know, it's really fun. I really enjoyed the movies I've seen. Some of them have been so oddball and quirky, but there's been some really good stories in there. And I wrote the article about how women were telling their stories, and I think that was very important. A lot of people got to share their voice at the South by Southwest Festival, especially this year. And I saw some of that last year as well too, but I really saw it this year. I really do like this online format. As we were saying earlier, it kind of gives you a chance to see a little bit more. In that sense, you get more exposure to all these different stories. So I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. Can't wait for the next one.
And for everyone who wants to read about everything that we wrote, go to AIPT.com. We talked about a lot of movies, but there's so many more reviews up there that you can find, plus our post-press coverage, plus there's some interviews. But check it out, and we'll talk to you later.